Mark, a former startup director, traded the relentless pace of Silicon Valley for the quiet rhythms of a small rural town. He'd envisioned a life unplugged, filled with gardening, long walks, and analog simplicity. Yet, escaping the external pressures of tech didn't automatically silence the internal drive for optimization, efficiency, and structure ingrained by years in the industry. He found himself subtly trying to hack relaxation, scheduling stillness with the same rigor he once applied to product sprints. His desire for a slower, more mindful life felt paradoxically effortful, almost stressful. The very tools he'd left behind, the digital planners, the productivity apps, seemed to echo in his attempts to orchestrate simplicity. Then, an unexpected ally emerged, AI. Not the demanding AI of his past life, focused on scaling and speed, but a quieter, more personalized version. He began using it not to accelerate, but to decelerate skillfully. He prompted AI to help design a truly flexible, slow-living schedule based on natural cycles, not rigid time blocks. He used it to generate seasonal vegetarian recipes aligned with local produce availability. He even explored AI-driven meditation apps specifically designed for introverts or those prone to overthinking, finding guidance that resonated more deeply than generic mindfulness tracks. AI, the engine of the very world he'd fled, was paradoxically helping him dismantle his old patterns and embrace genuine slowness, structure without rigidity, and mindful living without the pressure to perform. This reflection explores the challenge of truly slowing down after leaving high-pressure environments, how ingrained habits of optimization can hinder the transition to a simpler life, the surprising potential of AI as a tool for designing and supporting a structured, yet flexible, slow-living practice, finding balance, using technology not to escape the present, but to inhabit it more fully and gently. If you've ever tried to slow down only to find yourself stressed about how to relax, perhaps there's a counterintuitive wisdom in using modern tools to rediscover ancient rhythms. Find a comfortable position, allowing your body to settle. Let your awareness rest gently on the physical sensations of this moment, the contact points with your seat, the feeling of the air on your skin, the subtle movements of your breath. Notice the natural pace of your inhale and exhale without trying to change it. Simply observe the quiet rhythm of being alive. Now, bring to mind the idea of slowing down. What does that phrase evoke for you? Perhaps images of nature, quiet activities, less rushing. Feel the desire for this slowness, this peace. Acknowledge any tension that might arise alongside this desire. Perhaps a feeling of needing to do something to achieve slowness, a subtle pressure to relax correctly, or a restlessness beneath the surface. Observe these internal pressures with kindness. Now, imagine the tools and structures you typically use in your daily life. Calendars, to-do lists, apps, routines. Notice their energy, perhaps efficient, organized, demanding, or helpful. Consider how these structures might support or hinder a genuine sense of slowness and presence. Now, introduce the image of a different kind of tool, one that is flexible, adaptive, responsive to natural rhythms rather than imposing rigid schedules. Visualize AI, not as a driver of speed, but as a quiet architect of gentle structure. Imagine it helping you align your activities with the seasons, suggesting simple, nourishing meals, offering personalized moments of stillness tailored to your needs. Feel the possibility of using structure not to control life, but to create space within it. Can technology, used mindfully, help dismantle the internal drive for constant optimization and instead support a life lived with more ease, presence, and alignment with natural cycles? In this silence, hold the intention to find a balance between helpful structure and spontaneous presence, using whatever tools serve that balance with wisdom and discernment. Rest in the quiet rhythm of your own being, just as it is. The central tension for Mark, and others attempting a similar transition, lies in the paradox of using tools associated with speed and optimization, like AI, to cultivate slowness and simplicity. It challenges deeply ingrained beliefs about technology and mindfulness. Firstly, there's the perceived contradiction. Mark left the tech world seeking an escape from its relentless drive. Turning back to AI, even in a different capacity, feels counterintuitive, almost like a betrayal of his intention to live a more analog life. There's a cognitive dissonance. Can the engine of hyper-efficiency truly facilitate genuine deceleration? It feels like asking a race car driver to teach you how to walk slowly. There's a fear that engaging with AI, even for slow-living purposes, will inevitably pull him back into old patterns of thinking, optimizing his relaxation, quantifying his mindfulness, turning simplicity into another project to be managed. Secondly, there's the challenge of ingrained habits. Years in tech conditioned Mark to seek efficiency, measure progress, and structure everything for optimal output. When faced with the unstructured freedom of rural life, this conditioning doesn't just disappear. He finds himself applying the same mindset, researching the most efficient gardening methods, scheduling optimal times for walks, feeling vaguely unproductive if his day lacks clear achievements. Using AI to design a slow-living schedule or suggest recipes, while helpful, could inadvertently reinforce this optimization habit if not approached consciously. The tool might provide slow content, but the way he uses it could still be driven by the old, fast mindset. Thirdly, there's the question of authenticity and direct experience. True slowness often arises from direct engagement with the present moment, spontaneous connection with nature, and intuitive listening to one's own needs. Relying on AI to structure this experience, suggesting when to meditate, what to eat, how to schedule rest, feels like outsourcing intuition. Does using an AI-generated seasonal recipe truly connect him to the local environment in the same way as intuitively choosing vegetables from his garden? Does following an AI-curated meditation for introverts replace the value of simply sitting and observing his own mind? There's a tension between the curated, structured simplicity offered by AI and the potentially messy, but perhaps more authentic, simplicity discovered through direct, unmediated experience. Fourthly, there's the potential for dependency and loss of agency. If AI becomes the architect of his slow life, does Mark risk losing the ability to design it himself, to adapt fluidly based on his own changing energy levels or the weather? Over-reliance on the tool, even for good purposes, could create a new form of rigidity, replacing the corporate schedule with an AI-generated one, still externalizing the locus of control over his time and choices. Finally, there's the subtle energy of the tool itself. AI operates on data, algorithms, and logic. While it can generate content related to slowness, its underlying nature is computational. Does interacting regularly with this logical, data-driven energy subtly influence Mark's own way of being, potentially hindering the shift towards a more intuitive, feeling-based existence? The challenge for Mark is to use AI as a skillful means without letting it become another form of subtle striving or external control. It requires using the tool consciously as a support for his intention, not a replacement for his intuition or direct experience. It means leveraging AI for specific tasks, like generating ideas, organizing information, providing personalized options, while retaining agency over his choices and remaining grounded in present-moment awareness. Can he use the structure provided by AI to create space for spontaneity, rather than filling every moment? Can he engage with AI-suggested practices as invitations, not prescriptions? The tension lies not in the tool itself, but in the awareness and intention brought to its use. It's about harnessing the organizational power of AI without succumbing to its inherent drive for optimization, using it to gently dismantle old structures rather than simply replacing them with new, digitally mediated ones. There is a story often told in Zen circles about the master Hakuin Ekaku, known for his rigorous teaching style. A young monk, eager for enlightenment, constantly pestered Hakuin, asking him again and again about the nature of Buddhahood and the path to realization. One hot summer day, the monk found Hakuin fanning himself. Seeing his chance, the monk approached and asked, "Master, the nature of air is everywhere, within and without. Why, then, do you need to use a fan?" Hakuin stopped fanning for a moment, looked at the monk, and replied, "You understand that air is everywhere, but you do not understand the nature of using the air." He then continued fanning himself, letting the cool breeze demonstrate the point more effectively than words could. In another version or related teaching, the analogy extends. Just as the ever-present air needs the action of the fan to bring immediate relief and manifest its cooling nature, the ever-present Buddha nature within us needs the action of practice, like meditation, ethical conduct, wisdom cultivation, the fan of the Eightfold Path, to be fully realized and experienced. Source: Zen teaching story attributed to Hakuin Ekaku, 1686 to 1769. Specific textual source varies. Hakuin's simple response to the monk cuts through intellectual understanding to the heart of practical application. The monk understood the concept of air being everywhere, but missed the experience and utility of engaging with it skillfully through the fan. The fan doesn't create the air, nor does it deny its omnipresence. It simply makes its inherent cooling quality accessible and beneficial in that moment. This provides a powerful lens for Mark's tension with using AI to cultivate slowness. Mark understands the concept of simplicity and presence being available, just like the air. He left the tech world seeking this inherent state. Yet, like the monk questioning the fan, he questions the use of a tool, AI, when the desired state, slowness, presence, should theoretically just be. His ingrained optimization mindset makes him feel that using a tool implies the state isn't already present, or that he needs to achieve it through external means. Hakuin's wisdom suggests that skillful means, the fan, the practice, the tool, are not contradictory to the inherent nature of reality. Air, Buddha nature, potential for presence, but are often necessary to access or manifest that nature within our conditioned human experience. The fan doesn't negate the air, it helps us feel its coolness. Practice doesn't create Buddha nature, it helps us realize it. Similarly, AI, used mindfully, doesn't need to negate the possibility of genuine slowness or presence. It can act as Mark's fan, a tool to skillfully engage with the omnipresent potential for a simpler life, especially when his own conditioned habits, the heat of the optimization mindset, make it difficult to access directly. The AI doesn't create the slowness, but it can help clear away the mental clutter, dismantle rigid old structures, and provide gentle, personalized scaffolding, like the cooling breeze, that makes it easier for Mark to settle into a slower rhythm. The key lies in understanding the nature of using the tool. If Mark uses AI like Hakuin uses the fan, simply to make the inherent quality, coolness/slowness, more accessible without attachment or delusion, then it becomes a skillful means. If he becomes obsessed with finding the perfect AI-generated schedule or recipe, believing the tool itself holds the secret to slowness, then he's like the monk, stuck in conceptual understanding without grasping the practical application. The insight shift for Mark is to see AI not as a necessary evil or a contradiction, but as a potential fan. Its value lies not in its inherent nature, algorithmic, data-driven, but in its function when used with right intention and awareness. It can help him. 1. Counteract conditioning. Use AI's structure to gently override his ingrained optimization habits, creating space for non-doing. 2. Personalized practice. Leverage AI's ability to tailor suggestions, meditations, schedules, recipes to his specific needs, introversion, local seasonality, making the practice more resonant and sustainable. 3. Reduce cognitive load. Outsource some of the planning and decision-making around structuring a slow life, freeing up mental energy for actual presence and enjoyment. He needs to hold the tool lightly, using it consciously to circulate the air of presence that is already here, rather than believing the tool itself is the air. It's about using the structure provided by AI to support, not replace, his connection with natural rhythms, intuition, and the simple joy of being. The fan is useful on a hot day. AI can be useful when navigating the transition from a fast life, but neither is the air itself. Settle into your awareness, feeling the gentle rhythm of your breath. Acknowledge the presence of this moment, just as it is. Now, bring to mind an area of your life where you feel a tension between a desired state, like peace, creativity, connection, slowness, and the tools or methods you use or feel pressured to use. Perhaps it's technology, specific routines, or societal expectations. Notice the feeling of this tension. Now, recall Haquin's fan. Imagine the desired state, peace, slowness, as the ever-present air. It's already here, fundamentally available. Consider the tools or methods in question. Can any of them, used skillfully and with right intention, act as a fan, simply helping you access or experience the air that's already present? Set the intention to discern the nature of using these tools. Ask yourself, am I using this tool to genuinely support my access to the desired state, without attachment or believing the tool is the state? Or am I using it out of habit, obligation, or a mistaken belief that the tool itself holds the answer? Imagine holding the tool lightly, like Haquin held his fan, using it when helpful, setting it aside when not, always remembering that the essential quality, the air, the peace, the presence, is inherent and doesn't depend on the tool. Cultivate the inner wisdom to know when the fan is needed and when simply resting in the air is enough. Release the need to optimize or perfect the process. Simply intend to use whatever arises, tools, situations, moments, skillfully, to support your connection with what truly matters. In a world offering ever more sophisticated tools, like AI, that promise to structure, optimize, and enhance our lives, how do we cultivate the wisdom, like Haquin's understanding of the fan, to use these tools as skillful means without mistaking them for the goal itself? How do we ensure our tools help us access the inherent peace and presence available in each moment, rather than becoming yet another distraction from it? Slowing down is an art, not a science. Sometimes, the most unexpected tools can help us find our rhythm. If this exploration of using AI mindfully resonated, please share it. Subscribe for more reflections on living with presence in our complex world. May you find the skillful means that support your journey towards peace and simplicity.